Good morning, everyone. Today, we will gain some basic knowledge about Code of Criminal Procedure through some basic MCQs. So, without wasting any time, let's start with it. So, starting with the first question, which is under the provision of the CRPC, normally a person cannot be discharged unless the prosecution evidence has been taken and the magistrate considers for reasons to be recorded that no case is made out against the accused. Which of the following section contains exception to this rule? The options are A. Section 239, B. Section 245, C. Section 248, or D. Section 203. The correct answer to this question is option B, that is, Section 245 of the CRPC stands as exception to the rule to the above stated rule. So let's see what does Section 245 states and tells about. Section 245 states when accused shall be discharged. This section states that Clause 1, if upon taking all the evidence referred to in Section 244, the magistrate considers for reason to be recorded that no case against the accused has been made out, which if rebutted would warrant his conviction, the magistrate shall discharge him. Clause 2 states that nothing in this section shall be deemed to prevent the magistrate from discharging the accused at any previous stage of the case if for the reasons to be regarded by such magistrate he considers the charge to be groundless. Moving on to the next question, that is, which of the following statement does not hold true under section 246 of the CRPC? The options are A. The magistrate can exercise his discretion to allow cross-examination or not. B. The accused cannot cross-examine the witness for the prosecution before the charges are made. C. If the accused pleads guilty, magistrate is bound to record the plea. Or D. If the accused pleads guilty, magistrate is not bound to convict him. The correct answer to this question is option B. That is, the accused cannot cross-examine the witness for the prosecution before the charges are made does not hold true under section 246 of the CRPC. So now let us see what does section 246 states. Section 246 states procedure where accused is not discharged. This section states that clause 1, if when such evidence has been taken or at any previous stage of the case the magistrate is of the opinion that there is ground for presuming that the accused has committed an offence triable under this chapter which such magistrate is competent to try and which in his opinion could be adequately punished by him, he shall frame in writing a charge against the accused. Clause 2. The charge shall be read and explained to the accused and shall be asked whether he pleads guilty or has any defence to make. Clause 3. If the accused pleads guilty, the magistrate shall record the plea and may in his discretion convict him thereon. Clause 4. If the accused refuses to plead guilty or does not plead or claims to be tried, or if the accused is not convicted under subsection 3, he shall be required to state at the commencement of the next hearing of this case, or if the magistrate for a reason to be recorded in writing, to think fit forthwith whether he wishes to cross-examine any, and if so, which of the witness for the prosecution whose evidence has been taken. Subsection 5. If he says he does so wish, the witness named by him shall be recalled, and after cross-examining and re-examining, they shall be discharged. Subsection 6 states that the evidence of any remaining witness for the prosecution shall next be taken, and after cross-examination and re-examination, they shall also be discharged. After gaining some knowledge about section 246, let's move on to the next question. That is, which of the following statements hold true under section 248 of the CRPC? The options are A. The magistrate does not have power to discharge the accused. B. This section will apply when some evidence has been let in and such evidence is not satisfactory. C. This section does not apply in case of the prosecution cannot produce any evidence. Or option D. The magistrate does not have power to pass sentence on the accused. The correct answer to this question is option B. That is, this section will apply when some evidence has been let in and such evidence is not satisfactory, holds true under section 248 of the CRPC. Section 248 states acquittal or conviction. This section states that sub 1. If in any case under this chapter in which a charge has been framed, the magistrate finds the accused not guilty, he shall record an order of acquittal. Subsection 2. Where in any case under this chapter the magistrate finds the accused guilty but does not proceed in accordance with the provisions of section 325 or 360, he shall, after hearing the accused on the question of sentence, pass sentence upon him according to the law. And subsection 3 states that where in any case under this chapter the previous conviction is charged under the provision of subsection 7 of section 211 and the accused does not admit that he has been previously convicted as alleged in the charge, the magistrate may, after he has convicted the said accused, take evidence in respect of the alleged previous conviction and shall record a finding thereon, provided that no such charge shall be read out by the magistrate, nor shall the accused be asked to plead thereto, or shall the previous conviction be referred to by the prosecution or in any evidence adduced by it unless and until the accused has been convicted under subsection 2. Moving on to the next question. Discharge of the accused under section 249 of the CRPC is considered under which of the following circumstances? The options are A. Is considered to be acquittal for the purpose of section 300 of the CRPC. B. Is based on the merits of the case. C. Acts as a bar on filing second complaint. Or option D. Need not be done in case of the complainant dies. The correct answer to this question is option D. That means to say, discharge of the accused under section 249 of the CRPC need not be done in case the complainant dies. So moving on to the next question, that is, the order of compensation under section 250 of the CRPC can be made in which of the following circumstances? The options are A. In cases where the offences are compounded. B. Where the discharge or acquittal is not made. C. By the magistrate only where the offence charge is triable by him. Or D. By the successor in office. The correct answer to this question is option C. That means to say the order of compensation under the section 250 can be made by the magistrate only where the offence charge is triable by him. So moving on to the next question, that is, an order under dash of the CRPC acts as a bar under section 300 of the code to the trial of the accused for same offence. Fill in the blanks with the appropriate section. The options are A. Section 256, B. Section 203, C. Section 227, or option D. Section 239. The correct section to do this question is option A. That means to say an order under section 256 of the CRPC acts as a bar under section 300 of the code to the trial of the accused for the same offence. So let's take a glimpse and understand what does section 256 states and means. Section 256 states non-appearance or death of the complainant. This section states that if the summons has been issued on complaint and on the day appointed for the appearance of the accused or any day subsequent thereto to which the hearing may be adjourned, the complainant does not appear, the magistrate shall, notwithstanding anything herein before contained, acquit the accused, unless for some reason he thinks it proper to adjourn the hearing of the case to some other day, provided that where the complainant is represented by a pleader or by the officer conducting the prosecution, or where the magistrate is of the opinion that the personal attendance of the complainant is not necessary, the magistrate may dispense with the attendance and proceed with the case. Subsection 2 states that the provision of subsection 1 shall, so far as may be, apply also to the cases where non-appearance of the claimant is due to his death. Moving on to the next question, the magistrate at his discretion can allow the complainant to withdraw the complaint and acquit the accused in case of which of the following cases? The options are A. warrant cases, B. Summons cases, C. Both A and B, or D. Neither A nor B? The correct answer to this question is option B, that is, the magistrate at his discretion can allow the complainant to withdraw the complaint and acquit the accused in case of summons cases only. So let's move on to the next question, that is, in which of the following cases it was held that the defect resulting from the non-compliance of the section 275 of the CRPC in the absence of the actual or possible failure of the justice is curable under section 464 and 465 of CRPC. The options are A. Nansing vs. Nansing, B. Ramjal vs. NCD, C. Abdul Rahman vs. Emperor, or D. Ranjit Singh vs. State of UP? The correct answer to this question is option C, that is Abdul Rahman vs. Emperor, was a case in which it was held that the defect resulting from the non-compliance of the section 275 of the CRPC in the absence of the actual or possible failure of justice is curable under section 464 and 465 of the CRPC. So let's move on to the next question, which is for the application of the section 300 of CRPC, it is not necessary. Fill in the blanks. The options are A, that there must be a previous trial of the accused, B, for the accused to be acquitted in a previous trial, C, for the previous proceeding to have been for an offence, or option D, for the second trial to be for the same offence. The correct answer to this question is option B, that is section 300 of the CRPC application, it is not necessary for the accused to be acquitted in a previous trial. So let's move on to the last question for the day, that is, an advocate who is accused can, statement 1, of a criminal offence is entitled to conduct his own defence. Statement 2, of a criminal offence is not entitled to conduct his own defence. Statement 3, with others of a criminal offence is not entitled to appear at the trial as counsel for his co-accused. And statement 4, with others of a criminal offence is entitled to appear at a trial as counsel for his co-accused. The options are, choose the correct option. The options are A, only first and third statement are correct, B, only first and fourth statement are correct, C, only second and third statement are correct, and option D, only second and fourth statement are correct. The correct answer to this question is option A. That means to say only statement 1 and third statement are correct regarding an accused advocate. That means to say, if an advocate who is accused of a criminal offence is entitled to conduct his own defence and with others of a criminal offence is not entitled to appear at the trial as a counsel for his co-accused. Thank you all for listening to this video till the end and grasping some basic knowledge about CRPC. Thank you.